goodness, we are live. Happy Monday. We are here. I am so excited to be here, and I hate looking at myself Monday mornings after I work out, but I'm glad you guys are here. I don't know. I got a message from Kayla. I think there's Cassandra. Good morning. I got her quote, but I'm not sure. There she is. We'll go ahead and invite Kayla up. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Good morning. It's good to see you, Cassandra. You'll notice that I am back at my parents' house, which means I get to retrieve my signature necklace. I'm super excited about that. And there's Pam. Hey, Pam. Hey, you guys, if you're interested in the book club, this coming Saturday, I'm going to do the live stream, and we'll choose the book. I'm going to put them on the wheel and just spin. So make sure you get your 2 book suggestions that you want put on the wheel for consideration to me this week so that we can get our book selected. And there's no limitations. So if you have a fiction book, a fantasy book, a business book, a mindset book, whatever it might be, all of those are eligible. Anything you want. Good morning, Miss Kayla.
Good morning.
Feeling?
I'm excited. There's been some changes going on around here.
Oh, how exciting.
I know. I saw my midwife on Friday, and he's like, his head is fully engaged with my pelvis, and just yeah. It's really exciting, and I keep getting a lot of like sensation. Something is happening. It won't be much longer.
Oh, I'm so excited. Well, I was very surprised when I got your message yesterday. I was like, okay, all right. I can't wait to get an update. So I'm excited. I'm excited that things are happening and baby is on the way.
It's funny because with my son, my first, like literally nothing happened until labor started. So this is such a different experience. Like he's getting so much of the work out of the way. I feel like by the time I start labor, I'm already going to be halfway there.
Right?
Fine by me.
I know, right? That'll be okay. We won't complain about that.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about all of that. You look beautiful. You look wonderful. You look well rested, which tells me that it probably is getting really close.
Yeah.
I'm
running out of energy.
I love it. Well, Kayla, as everybody knows, we've got Cassandra and Pam here this morning. Here we go. Yay, Pam just sent those. I really hope that I'm going to copy paste those while Kayla tells us what our quote is for this week.
Yes. So good morning. It is Mindset Monday, not check in on the baby Monday. So our quote for this week: if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. And that comes to us from Mary Engelbright.
This is beautiful. This is really fun because I often talk about my circle of influence or circle of control. And I like to think about this as my hula hoop. Inside my hula hoop is me, and I have all kinds of control over inside of my hula hoop. And once I get outside of my hula hoop, I don't have any control over that. And that's the stuff that I've got to either accept or change the way I think about it. So I love this quote because it reminds me, as soon as you were saying it, I was thinking about my hula hoop, the one that I, in my own mind, because I'm sure that's not surprising that I would use a hula hoop.
Tell me a little bit more about this hula hoop.
Yeah. So inside the hula hoop is everything that I can control. And so really, what can work inside the hula hoop? Me.
It's a small hula hoop.
Have you ever tried to hula hoop with somebody else inside the hula hoop? Doesn't work so well, does it? And so it's just a reminder for me that the things that I can change, if I don't like something and I can change it, then it's something probably inside of my hula hoop, because I have the ability to make that change. But if it's outside of my hula hoop, I probably need to change the way I think about it, because it's external. And I love the visualization of a hula hoop, because it's one of those things that it can get disrupted by things on the outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can be hula hooping really well and have a rhythm and everything's going really, really good. But somebody could walk by me and tap the hula hoop and all of a sudden I'm out of whack, right? Like wonky. And I kind of think that that's how life is.
Mm-hmm. I also would love to piggyback on that and say, just like hula hooping, managing the control of your thoughts and emotions, it's not as simple as you just pick it up and do it.
Right.
It's something you have to practice before it even looks effortless on the outside.
Ooh, that's an angle on that visualization I hadn't done yet. I love it because it's true. Like you can watch somebody hula hoop and be like, "Oh, I'm going to do that," and you pick it up and
it looks so easy.
Maybe I'm not going to do that yet. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's so easy to get caught up in these sometimes where I think I have to be careful, because sometimes I think I can change things that I really can't change.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's like the trap most people fall into. Especially, I know I bring up like parenting stuff all the time because this is just the era that I live in. But like, it's such a common thread, especially I feel like, and I'm sure this isn't true for everybody, but for a lot of people, my generation of parenting is a little bit of a different style than the way our parents did it. And there tends to be a lot of, are you going to control your child? It's like, no, that doesn't work. You cannot control another human being, no matter how small they are.
Right.
I just had this conversation with my grandma the other day because my son didn't want to eat the dinner that I fixed. And in our household, the rule is you have to try it. If you try it and don't like it, then you can eat something else. That's fine. I'll honor that. He didn't even want to try it. He was just like, I'm not hungry. And she just came to visit. She's helping us with the baby. And she's like, you have to eat your food. You do da 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 da. And I'm like, Grandma, you can't make him eat. I wish you could.
Yeah, right? That would be great.
My husband has tried before. It doesn't work. There's some things beyond our control.
Yes.
And I said, no, it's fine. If he doesn't want to eat, we respect that. And then the natural consequence of that is, well, now you might be hungry. And maybe you'll think about that next time you decide to refuse the food on your plate.
Right. Right. Nothing like intrinsic physical pain to be a motivator, right? Like, I mean, seriously, like, oh, because I'm sure later I'm hungry. Oh, that really stinks because you didn't eat your dinner. I bet you are.
Yeah, and that's the boundary that we hold. And then he's like, oh, and I'm like, well, remember that.
That's right. Remember, it's so funny that I love having these conversations with you because it warms my heart because I get to remember when my son was little. And I can remember we had a situation where he was dawdling at the store. And I had said that he could, like, I don't even remember what it was. It was some little penny toy or something that I had said he could have, but he had to get to the counter with it because it was time to go. And he dawdled and dawdled. Right. And he didn't. And so finally I paid for what I was buying and I said, okay, it's time to go. Let's put this back. And he was very upset. You said I could have it. Yes, but I said you could have it if you got it to the counter. And he was crying. And I'll never forget this day because it was a really hard day because he's crying and so sad. And all I could think to say to him is, you have another chance tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have another chance. You'll have another chance. This isn't the end of the world. You missed it today, but you'll get another chance, right? And I think from that point forward, I don't remember him ever dawdling like that at the store. Like I just don't. Now he may have, and I'm old now and I can't remember, but but I do remember those things. And it's so true because you're right. Even though and my son also taught me a lot about that because I grew up in the control your child era. And I even parented that way for a long time. But it was my son who taught me how futile that really is. And the only thing that came from that was my distress.
Frustration.
Right. Like, and there came a point where I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I don't have to be, and I still find myself in this position. I don't have to be so frustrated with this. Like, I can let him own this, right? Like you were just talking about, I can let him make the choice, face the consequence, and deal with it, just like every other human being on the face of the planet has to. So yeah, but yes, distinguishing between the things, if I can change it, then I need to change it. And those
right.
really
exactly. In those situations, the only thing you can change is your response to the behavior.
Right. It's really quite empowering once I started really understanding and taking that position and owning my part in that. It kind of feeds into, I can remember, and this used to really upset me, people would say, nobody can make you feel anything. And it kind of works into that. Maybe that's another Monday, but
well, I think it's very interwoven.
Do you think? Okay, good. Because it felt like it was. And then when I said it out loud, I was like, I don't know, maybe that's not. But it felt like it was leading me.
Well, let's take a pause. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it.
Right. And that's the change where you think, how you think about it. Right. And for me, and I don't know, this may be more common than I think, but for me, I have a tendency to take on somebody's feelings that aren't mine. I don't want to say feelings. That's not even the right word, Kayla. Before we go down that path, that's not the word I want to use. I want to say response. Like, I'm not responsible for their response. So, for example, with the kids not eating, I'm not responsible for them being hungry later. So that it's not my problem to fix. Anyway, I feel like I'm going in a tangent. Pull me back. Get me back. Get me back.
So I have found, though, I mean, really, like, parenting a toddler is such an experience that is applicable to all avenues of life, because let's be honest, every human being is a little bit of a toddler sometimes, even when they're adults. It's that Dave, it's that ego brain. And it's so funny. I didn't know this prior to having one, obviously. But it was about a year ago. I went back to the ER as a nurse. And I had to go back through, we do like de-escalation training, and we had a new training course from the time I had done it previously, and it's the well class. It's actually a very good class, but all of the de-escalation techniques in there, I was just laughing the whole time because I was like, this is gentle parenting just repackaged for adults. Because it's all the same concepts.
Right?
Like when somebody is heated and aggravated, like you cannot meet them where they are. Like you have to pause and have control. You can't control them. You have to control your own emotions and response and be the regulated, stable person to be able to bring that situation down.
Right.
And I think this spills over all the time into advocacy work, because the things that we do, I mean, people don't reach out to us when everything is going right in their medical experience. You know, a lot of times it's their life is on the line medically or financially or a combination of both. So you're already in a setting where like they're facing their worst nightmare and they're clawing desperately for their life. Like the emotions are gonna be up here. That's kind of the expectation. So as an advocate, to be able to recognize that and put work around how do you maintain your own stability and not get pulled into that whirlwind is essential.
It is. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're so successful at what we do, is because on some level, whether we've recognized it or not, we have the ability to do some of this. And I think the work that we're doing here in these Mindset Monday conversations is cultivating that to a deeper level so that we have a higher awareness and can leverage that skill. Because honestly, I look in all the advocates that I talk to and the work that we do, we have some baseline understanding of all of these concepts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this work is really just taking us to that place where we have more awareness around it and we can call on it as needed versus hoping that our instincts lead us there.
Right. And like every other muscle in the body, like the more you pay attention to it, feed it, nurture it, work it, the stronger it gets and the less you have to think about how to use it when the time comes.
Exactly. Right. It's interesting. You know, that brings me to a question, and this may be way off base. Maybe this is something we need to talk about another day, but it makes me think, oh, I've never really thought of the intuition part of what we do as a muscle, but it really kind of is, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And that is what we're talking about here, is working that muscle in these conversations and through the week with these concepts so that in those moments of high, whatever that is,
emotional dysregulation.
There we go. High emotional dysregulation. Man, I'm so grateful for you. We have this underlying intuitive feeling and an experience that we can draw from in those moments.
Well, and I would even take it a step further to say that intuition and that response is reflexive, and that muscle is getting worked, whether it's in a positive way or in a negative way. And unless you're calling attention and intention and working on it, it's going to reflex in a negative way. That's kind of the default mode for most people. Like if somebody's all heightened and yelling, like the natural response, thanks to the ego brain and Dave, is to also be heightened and yelling and be on defense. That fight or flight kind of kicks in unless you've put in the work to be able to pause, use the higher conscious brain to say, this is not a saber-toothed tiger trying to attack me. This is just a person who's upset, and we don't need to respond this way. Yeah, that takes training.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, it does.
And
it takes
not just once, like all the time.
Over, right. Day after day after day. That's right.
Or the hula hoop will drop.
Absolutely, right? And and it's okay, right? That's the other thing that we talk about a lot, is when the hula hoop drops, it's okay. You can pick it up, you can start back over, you can get going again. You can find another flow. It's all right. So, remind me the quote again. If you don't like something,
change it.
Change it.
If you can't change it, change the way you think about it.
Change the way you think about it. I love this. I love this because, like I said, it immediately, the first part of this is, can I change it or can I not change it? Like, let's get it first and foremost, let's get it into a category of, what's the next step?
And I would say,
I think about
if you cannot change it, if it's out of your hula hoop, out of your zone of control, I would encourage you to move very quickly into the changing how you think about it, because a lot of people get stuck in that it's something they can't change, but they really want to. And so that wheel kind of just keeps turning, but the hamster's not there. It's, it's not helpful.
No, it's not. In fact, it can be more destructive.
Oh yeah. That's the worrying and the stressing. And like, I hold a stance that stress is not inherently a bad thing. It kind of depends on, like, there's helpful stress and there's unhelpful stress. But if there's something that you can't change and you're spending all of your time, your energy, your focus, wishing it was different or lamenting in it in some way, that is not serving you. And that is a negative stress.
Right.
So we got to move into the next phase.
Right. It's really interesting because like you said, it's easy to, or at least for me, it's been easy to think I can control things that I really can't. And it's weird because sometimes it sneaks up on me, right? Like, sitting here having this conversation, I'm pretty sure that my ability to determine, is this inside my hula hoop or outside, it would be really good in this moment. And I also know that later today that it may sneak up on me. Yeah. And I think that's something to pay attention to as well, because at first glance, I might think, oh, I can manage that. I can change that. But then as I start to work into the execution of that change, I realize, oh, not so much. I need to back up and change the way I'm thinking about this versus anything that I can do to change it. And again, it goes back to that hula hoop. Like, the things that are in that hula hoop I can control, which really boil down to one thing, right? Or two things if you want to split me up, but it's me first and foremost, right? I'm the only one inside that hula hoop, but I have the ability to change two things. I can change my actions inside the hula hoop, or I can change my thoughts inside the hula hoop. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where we get into this. Oh, this really ties really nicely into what this quote says, right?
Yeah. Thoughts and actions. Yeah.
Right. Those are really the only two things that I can control.
When determining, is this something that you can change or something you need to change the way you think about it? If you are struggling with that, some things that might be able to help. Number one, is this your problem? And that may sound kind of blunt and that's not nice, but is this your problem?
That's right.
Because if it's not your problem, people are really, you hear about, like, if someone is drowning, like, you have to be careful helping them because they'll pull you right down. Right. So, but it's the same thing emotionally. So, like, is it your problem? If it's not, go let that shit go.
Right? Let it go. Let it go.
Number two. I had a number two.
Oh wow, that was a big one.
If it passes the vibe check and this is your problem, but you're trying to figure out, can you change it or do you need to change the way you think about it? Number two, okay, what are you going to do about it? And if you can't come up with any action items, then maybe we're not going to change anything about it. We're going to change the way you think about it. And a lot of times, once you get to changing the way you think about it, you end up going around and finding something else you can do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that shift
Right.
in perspective is like so critical to get out of that initial like red flag
Yes.
state.
It is. It really is. And, I think this is what we go back to this. This is why we do this Mindset Monday, y'all, because all of this stuff is interconnected. And the hope is that we have these conversations to keep our awareness high so that as we go through the week, we're flexing that muscle and getting stronger in this area, and that these exercises will happen more quickly, more intuitively, and really improve the quality of our life. I mean, that's why I do this every Monday, is so that
Absolutely.
I'm like, I want to have a better quality of life. And when I am not in a positive, or I don't even want to say a positive mindset, because that makes it sound like you're up all the time. And that's not real. Mood is not the same as mindset. They're two different things, right? But when I'm in a good mindset, it allows me to make more conscious choices in my life and take better care of myself. Like point blank, take better care of myself in this world. Because sometimes I've had a history of not taking really good care of myself. And I think that's really the crux of all of this is, how do I do that and take care of other people, specifically is as advocates, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. I love
Me
that.
first.
That's right.
And that's not
That's
as
right.
selfish and self-serving as it sounds on the outside. It's oxygen mask theory.
Really
You
not.
cannot take care of other people if you do not take care of yourself first. I will
Right?
die on that hill. I preach
Yeah.
that all the time.
Well, and it's true. I mean, we can go through all kinds of life situations that we've all experienced and see that in reality, like how that doesn't work, anyway. And it's so interesting. I don't know. Here's another book. I knew you guys knew, right? You know that not one of these Mondays can go by where I don't talk about a book. I'm literally in the middle of reading Glennon Doyle's Untamed. Have you read that?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. So part of it is how, and I'm not going to go specifically into this, but the part that I'm reading right now is specific to how we as a culture condition ourselves from such a tiny, tiny age about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, the shoulds and shouldn'ts of our society, for lack of a better term. And I think this falls into that, that culturally, we specifically we as women, but I'm going to say even men, it's just different. It looks different for men. Their experience looks different, but there are cultural things that we're taught that we carry with us and we don't even recognize. One of which specifically mothers and women, and I'm speaking to this as one, right? Like this is just my experience, is that I'm supposed to be selfless. Like I'm supposed to give up everything on my end in order to be a good mom. And what I've really learned is that is so far from the truth.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be a good model. That's what I want to be. I don't want to teach my son or my daughter or my kids that they need to lose themselves in order to. Anyway, that is a whole nother tangent. But I think that it still comes down to this oxygen mask theory. And how sometimes it's easy to say those words, but when push comes to shove, we have to do it. Like I have to put my oxygen mask on or I'm going to die trying to help you. Like
Right.
that's real. That's real. So if we don't like something, Walk it through the algorithm. Is it something we can change? And if it is, then we need to make some changes. And if it's not, we still need to make some changes. They're just mindset changes between our ears. And those are hard too. Those are hard.
So sometimes I would say harder. Like you want to fix something as opposed to just trying to outthink it.
Right. Well, that's something else, Kayla. I hope I'm keeping these recordings because I think there's all kinds of things to talk about here. One is I've learned that I cannot think my way into better behavior. I have to behave my way into better thinking. And this is that whole dichotomy of like, how do I manage this? How do I behave better before I'm thinking better? But it really is a requirement for me. And I still love this oxygen mask visualization, right? I may be thinking I need to save my child who's sitting next to me on the airplane as we go down. And that's what I really want to do. But I know if I don't put on this oxygen mask, I'm going to die, and then we're both going to die. So I'm going to do the thing that is not feeling right, intuitively feeling, just to clarify, right? And I'm going to put the oxygen mask on, and then that will change the way I think. Because once I do that and I save my child and I save me, now it's changed my thinking forever. All because I took the action that I didn't think I wanted to take. So anyway,
self-care, selfish.
That's right. That's right. It's necessary. But it's required.
Tying this one up. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Thank you, Mary Engelbright. Yes. That is our Mindset Monday for this week.
Sounds good. We'll be back next week. I'll be back next week. We have recordings in the bank in case Kayla's busy with the new baby, which I'm thinking is going to be happening.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. So go out this week. Remember, walk through the algorithm. Can I change it, or can I change the behavior of the situation, or do I need to change the way I'm thinking about it? Watch for some prompts inside the platform to kind of keep this front of mind, and go have a great week, guys. Thanks so much. I think that was Pam. Yes, I got your books. I got them in. We'll get them on the wheel. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk soon. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.